Sorry about that. Welcome everybody. This is our regular City Commission meeting, February 20th, 2025, 12 p.m. Katy Perola Commission Chambers, our pledge of public conduct. We may disagree, but we will be respectful of one another. We will direct all comments to the issues. We will avoid personal attacks, and speaking without being recognized will be considered as out of order. And if we could all stand for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. And with that, Bianca, could you do the roll call, please?
Mayor Chappie,
Present.
Vice Mayor Cole,
Here.
Commissioner Bear,
Here.
Commissioner Spacinoce,
Here.
and then Commissioner Vosberg is absent with excuse.
Okay. Adoption of the agenda. We do have a few changes here. And first, under A, consent agenda, item A, this is a resolution 25-980, and that needs to be moved to 7, attorney business, B, resolution 25-980. The next thing would be under 4, new business, B, Florida statute 125.023. Did you get that? Did you hand those out? Okay. Thank you. I want to discuss this with the commission for just open discussion and possible actions. I think it's, well, I need that on the agenda so we can bring it up. I just became aware of this yesterday, day before yesterday.
Yesterday.
Thank you. With that, and then the third one, under the consent agenda G, we want to add the UTV for public works. This is a piece of equipment that is desperately needed. Commissioners, do you have any additions, anything you want to add or anything? If not, do we have a motion on the floor to approve the adoption of the agenda as with changes?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion on the floor and a second. No further discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
No opposition. Motion passed unanimously. Before we get into general public comment, the chief would like to speak. Then following the chief, I will be reading a memo from the City Commission from the Bradenton Beach Emergency Management Team referencing accusations by Darin Cushing and reporting by the Sun.
So as you're aware, Mr. Cushing has made some accusations against city employees. I am not speaking on behalf of the attorney or the mayor. I am speaking on behalf of the senior management staff that was involved with these meetings. So right after the storm hits, and we start going from response into recovery, we start having meetings, and we had 2 meetings a week at that time, Tuesdays and Thursdays. As things kind of continued to move forward, we then switched to 1 day a week, Wednesday. There were 6 to 8 staff members at those meetings. That included Terry, Shane, myself, Eric, our FEMA guy, that's our contractor, Darin, Evan, and sometimes Don Bus, as we were moving forward. Once the commission made the decision that we were going to not be operating under an emergency, am I picking up somebody else's mic? That we would not be operating under an emergency, so basically I'm no longer the lead as to what is going on. We switched to the incident command system. So every department, we would have the meeting, we would sit at the table, we would go around the table and tell where we're at, what we're doing, anybody need any help, because we did find that a lot of the phone calls that were coming in were getting overlapped. So multiple departments were getting the same phone calls. So we wanted to make sure that the right information was going out. So one of the first meetings that we had, Mr. Cushing came in and discussed the trailer parks. And the first thing he told us was that the trailer parks were going to have to be, he never used the word condemned, that they were uninhabitable. And he told us the reason for that is that there was FEMA guideline that if the floor was wet or water came in, however, that they were no good, they had to go. So I was like, okay, that's fine, I don't know anything about this, so I have to go by you, you're the licensed expert. So I get a call from Tracy up at Sandpiper. She's, Chief, I need you to come and look at some of these trailers that are supposedly going to be told that they have to go and go to the new standard. So we're like, okay, good. So I go down there, and I had a couple people that were gracious enough to invite me into their home and show me what the damage was. The water that came through the door. It didn't come up, and it didn't go in that far. So all they really did was mop up the water. So in looking at some of these, I'm like, this doesn't sound right to me. So I had Darin and Steve come up, and we started looking at them. Now, by this point, the Sandpiper already has somebody knocking at the door that wants to buy the trailer park. And they're considering selling because they've been told that it's done. So we meet with them, I walk them through, we look at a bunch of trailers on the inside, and then it was like, well, I think we need to reevaluate this, and that's fine. So we did. Reevaluate, said, nope, changed my mind, we're good to go. So we're good to go. So we started the process of issuing the letters that the 50% letter, whatever it's called, that they would be okay and the trailers would be fine. There was one or two that were, it wasn't going to make it. And the one owner already admitted it and was planning on tearing it down. So as this progresses on, there's still some confusion. People are hearing different things when they call the planning department. So I told Tracy, let's have a town hall meeting, Darin, myself, and we'll have the fire department come up because obviously they're involved also. So we had a meeting, the three of us. It was packed, there was a lot of people there. We explained what was going on. Darin explained why there was a change now and that those trailers did not have to be, I'm going to use the word condemned because I don't know what else to use. And we moved forward, and then so they decided not to sell and clean up their units. We did encourage them to go out and get a better assessment, a private assessment, because it would bring the value up way more, and it brought their values way up. So we're good to go. We're moving forward on that, and that went. Pines was a different matter. He told us the same thing in the beginning. Went through the Pines, it's no good. We actually walked the Pines, and some residents were there with us. And he's just like, the FEMA rule, those trailers sit a little lower. The floodplain elevation is lower, so the water obviously came up a little bit higher. So he's like, nope, we can't move forward with this. So okay, that's fine. Again, let's get the message out so these people know what to do so they can start to try to get their life back together. So then we have the meeting at City Hall, and the people from the Pines came, obviously upset, wanted to know what the deal was, and then the next day, all of a sudden, no, everything's okay. We're going to say that they're not substantially damaged. There were some that definitely were, because Milton literally just blew them apart. So like, okay, that's what we're going with. So that's what we go with. And he tells city staff. So that was the issue with the trailer parks. So then the next thing that comes up is he's claiming that certain staff members or the whole team, I can't remember, he was being pressured into approving major developments or homes. And this is all discussed at the meeting. And again, there's 6 to 8 people there. So he's making allegations that he was being forced to approve things. There was nothing to approve. The building department was not accepting any plans or any permits of that caliber. I can bring the 2 clerks in here that can tell you that. I just found this out Monday. So there was nothing to be pressured because there's nothing there. There are no plans. They got 2 now, but this was just last week. And there were no permits for any type of major work. The only thing that they were concentrating on was electrical, air conditioning, and things like that. And now, and unfortunately with the air conditioning, some of those have been approved, and state law requires that they be elevated. And he did not require the elevation. It's being required now, which of course is causing turmoil because the contractors don't understand why, so we're providing them with the state law that says that they have to be elevated because you're in a floodplain zone. So I don't know what he's talking about there, and then I kind of think here, I had some notes, but I lost them. At some point, we could see that there was a problem. Staff, I'm hoping they're shaking their head yes. So we kept telling him, do you need help? Let us put a mission request into the state. We can get a building official and maybe 2 or 3 inspectors to come out and help you. Even if you just let the building official and the inspector or planner deal with the new stuff that needs to go in, because we're holding these people back. We in some way have a building moratorium that was never approved by anybody because we're not issuing anything and we're not accepting it for review. No, I have it under control. Okay, here he goes. Next thing we ask for is, can you put together some type of guidance for people and how they can obtain permits? Because we're dealing with a lot of people that have never asked for a permit in their entire life. And for elderly people, for them to have to go online and try and fill out an application online, they don't know how to do it. So we asked for a bullet point type thing to put on PD Facebook, and they have their own Facebook now, so, and to put on there. So never received that. Then suggested that maybe, you know, if he could get maybe, because we could tell it was disorganized. So it was suggested, and I think it was by Shane, that on Mondays, all you do is electrical permits. That way everybody knows if you want an electrical permit, you come in on Monday. Or you fill your paperwork out and your permit will be reviewed and issued on Monday. Then Tuesday, maybe you do plumbing, and then Thursday, I can't remember what the last one, electrical, plumbing, AC. So he's like, no, everything is under control. We constantly pushed him. We wanted to know how many permits were being done. We wanted to know how many permits were in the queue, because we wanted to get that information out to the public so they knew where they stood and what was happening. We were never provided that information. None of us went back and talked to the staff because he was the department head. It was going through him during our incident command meeting. So there came a point at every meeting that Mr. Cushing would state that this was supposed to be his retirement job and he shouldn't be working this hard. So one day I was not in a good mood and he made that comment, and I said, well, maybe we should get a new building official. So that comment is true. And I'm tired of hearing it. It's not like the rest of the staff. It's like, thank God we had 2 back-to-back Category 3 hurricanes because I really want to work this hard. The other thing is, to make sure that Mr. Cushing stayed on task and did what he needed to do, he was never assigned any other responsibility. Terry's in charge of the insurance claims that are coming from the Florida League of Cities. Shane was put in charge of the finance and dealing with our FEMA rep to make sure the stuff is getting entered into the federal portal so we get our money back. He was also put in charge of finding funding for us because we are going to have to use some money from somewhere else to pay Ashford when that bill comes, and it's coming, until we start getting our FEMA money back. I can't list everything that I've been doing. Evan was put in charge of dealing with the debris and making sure that was going to work, our debris contractor, and then also other debris that they did not or were not contracted to pick out. We made arrangements with Waste Pro to come and get that debris, to clear that debris. So we had that going, and again, he was assigned nothing else. All we wanted to do was concentrate on that. So then FEMA shows up and to bring joy and happiness, and they tell us all the issues that they have with our floodplain ordinance. And two of the things that we were cited immediately was flood damage assessment plan and substantial damage management plan, an SOP for that. Now the reason this is crucial is this tells how we're going to review every property. It's like a checklist and a SOP of how your standing operating procedure, how you're going to deal with inspections of every property. So FEMA gives us on this and says, you know, you really need to have this. How do we know that you're treating every property the same? How do we know that you inspect this house and everything that you're doing is according to this? I'm not saying he didn't do it or did do it, but we're supposed to have the documentation that shows what we're doing. That way the property owner has the ability to come back and say, what are you using to assess my property? You know, there has to be something to justify the action. And that's what this does. So I was out sick for a while. Literally on death's bed, I thought. But anyhow, so I come back Monday. I decide I need to talk to the planning department to see what these allegations and what is going on. So I'm back there and I'm talking with them. With Anna Bray was the only one there. Wendy was off. So, you know, I'm asking her, you know, how many permits are going out, what is happening. I did find out that a lot of permits were done inaccurately. So the staff was emailing people and telling them your permit's not correct, you need to come back in and change your permit. So that was being done, and they were going through that process. So I'm asking them, what type of direction or leadership were you getting in doing this? What is the process? So then I find out that each one of them is doing the permitting a little differently than the other one. This should just be right down the road. You know, when my cops write a ticket, everybody writes a ticket the same way. You don't vary on that, which could be causing some of the concern that the permits aren't getting filled out appropriately. So I said, there's no guidance, and they're like, no, there's none. So Anna Bray tells me that. So then, and you're more than welcome to question them. If you have any questions for them when I'm done, we'll bring them in, you can talk to them. So then, Wendy returned yesterday, and I started asking Wendy, and I said, the management that was going on in here, because it sounds to me like there was no management and there was no leadership. And I said, so what was going on? I mean, in your words, what is going on? Both of them at the same time said, it's a shit show. They said they begged for help. He continually refused it at the meetings, did not want any other help. He did bring in one guy from Safe Build, because in our contract, we were allowed to bring extra people in from Safe Build. He had a guy here, I think they said for 2 days, that did some permits. Meanwhile, all this stuff is continually stacked up, and no new stuff is going out. So I asked Wendy, because Wendy's our CRS coordinator, and I said, you know, two of the things that we got really gigged hard on from FEMA was the flood damage assessment plan and the substantial damage management plan. And Wendy looked at me, reached over on her desk. There's a draft of the flood damage assessment plan. There's a damage of the substantial damage management plan. This stuff has been sitting on her desk for 2 years. Neither building official took this and approved it. And they were asked repeatedly to put this in, to get this in, because it needs to be attached to our floodplain management plan. And it's sitting there collecting dust. The thing that I'm most upset of, mad enough that I don't know that I want to be here anymore. I have been here for 37 years. My integrity has never, ever been called into play. And I'm pissed. This man has made accusations that he was being forced to do things that don't exist. The bad part about this is he knows they don't exist, because he's the one that told them, push them away. I can't remember the word anniversary. Put it on the back burner. That's what they were told to do, to turn the people away. That we're not handling at this point. Even though help was offered to move that forward to help our citizens, and you know from the get-go, my number one priority was to help every citizen and every business. I mean, to get the businesses back up and running, we had put together a caravan, and I know Derek's here, so he can attest to this, to get people out to their businesses. Even though the city was closed down to anybody else, we wanted to get those businesses straightened out and make sure that they were ready to open when the people come back. Because the most normalcy you can get is the best thing. That's why we cleaned up the pickleball courts and the parks as fast as we did. 3 weeks after the storm, we had people playing pickleball. And that's impossible. So I began to refer inner circles to the building department as the weakest link. And again, you can only beg so many times. And as I said, there were 6 to 8 people in that room during those meetings. I had no individual meetings with Mr. Cushing. If I needed something that was outside the scope, I would go back and ask him. But everything was conducted and said in front of the staff. And I even asked them today, at any point did you feel that I was threatening Mr. Cushing? And both responded no. And again, I implore you to speak to them and get their side of the story. So the thing that FEMA's coming after us for, we've had for 2 years, and nobody signed off on it. And I'm going to tell you the rest of the staff's ticked off too. I mean, between the senior staff, we've got 90 years of service to the city, and it's a shame. And I'm hoping you guys support us. I hope you realize by facts that are being brought forward and some others that you can see through this and see what it really is. I will say Darin is a nice guy. He is easy to talk to, but that's not what we were paying him for. So the man that was doing the building department was also the floodplain manager. You got the fox guarding the hen house because he's approving his own stuff and no one independently is looking at it. And I speak for the staff. I think everybody feels the same way I do. We're tired of getting yelled at. We're tired of the false accusations. It's to the point now it's not worth it. And there's not one member of senior staff that I've talked to that is not thinking about leaving because they're just tired of it. We've got huge things to do still. We don't have the staff to do it. We don't even have the knowledge to do it. But now we got to figure out some way to get that knowledge to continue to move this forward. But we're at the point now, is it even worth doing? So that's all I have. I thank you for your time. Like I said, please feel free to talk to other staff members and ask questions. Get their side, get their opinion. I won't even go into the red tags. That's a whole nother debacle. But I think I've said enough, and I'm sure people are tired of hearing me talk. So thank you.
Thank you. Chief. Thank you. Thank you very much. Now I'm going to go ahead and read a memo to the City Commission from the Bradenton Beach Emergency Management Team regarding accusations by Darin Cushing and reporting by the Sun. The primary responsibility of this city through its elected officials and staff is to safeguard the public health, safety, and well-being of the community and its residents. Recent allegations made by Mr. Cushing are based on hearsay and appear to be an attempt to evade accountability for his failure to meet the demands placed upon him as a building official, particularly in the community impacted by 2 consecutive natural disasters. Unlike all other staff members of the city of Bradenton Beach, you assume additional roles and responsibilities to reopen the city and undertake the labor necessary for recovery. The city did not increase Mr. Cushing's responsibilities. Under the direction of Chief Cosby as the Emergency Management Director, Mr. Cushing maintained a singular role as the building official responsible for reviewing permits and conducting inspections. On multiple occasions, Mr. Cushing had failed to support staff and the community as Bradenton Beach navigated navigated the challenges posed by the hurricane tragedies. Except for Mr. Cushing, the emergency management city staff, public works, and the police officers were working 7 days a week for at least 12-hour shifts and were on call 24 hours a day. Further, Mr. Cushing failed to report to work on even notifying proper authorities in the city of his absence during his regular 40-hour work week. It was not uncommon for Mr. Cushing to express his disappointment with the expected demands of the city, stating that Bradenton Beach was to be his final job in a fun small beach community for the next 4 years leading up to his retirement. His expectations were only exacerbated as the city faced its greatest time of need following Hurricane Milton in September of 2024. Despite weekly staff meetings during which he had consistently refused any assistance in an attempt to address the escalating building department needs of our businesses and residents, the city had brought in former building official of 17 years, Steve Gilbert, and a team of 8 experienced inspectors through a mission request authorized by Chief Cosby, secured through the city attorney to assist Mr. Cushing. Notably, Mr. Cushing had canceled the mission request, causing significant confusion with Manatee County Emergency Operations Center and the state of Florida. Despite his claim of understanding and proficiency in crisis track, the hurricane recovery software, he has demonstrated a lack of knowledge in conducting legal substantial damage assessments. Consistently, the city had to provide him with training. Consequently, the city had to provide him with training at Holmes Beach, resulting in a loss of valuable time with the mission team. Preliminary review of the building department permits issued by Mr. Cushing through representatives from FEMA, West Manatee Fire Department, and other licensed reviewers have uncovered numerous errors and costs to Bradenton Beach. Over the coming weeks, the city had been advised to thoroughly review and rectify the post-hurricane work undertaken by Mr. Cushing. Regrettably, the senior staff has reviewed files and had discussions with code enforcement and the building department staff. The following has come to light regarding the performance of Mr. Cushing. Issuance of inappropriate approvals. Issued land use and planning approvals exceeded his duty to administer the Florida Building Code, failure to provide critical information, failure to notify the West Manatee Fire District of critical permit information, a violation of state law, as noted by Safe Build permits were issued in violation of state law, issued HVAC permits without requiring the elevation of outdoor equipment. Issued de facto moratorium on new development without proper notification to the city. The lack of post-hurricane experience, the lack of relevant experience in handling post-hurricane work required of building officials. In disregard of elected officials' requests, disregard requests and directives by elected officials. It has become abundantly evident that Mr. Cushing was incapable of fulfilling the demands and responsibilities, particularly legally discharging the duties of building official under the laws of the state of Florida and Bradenton Beach. This was further substantiated by the termination of his services as a result of an independent investigation conducted by his employer, Safebuild. Subsequent to terminating Mr. Cushing, when the city asked Safebuild how to proceed and the manner in which to address permits and approvals that FEMA has or may call into question, Safebuild asked the city to respond to their legal counselor. The administration of public health, safety, and wellness. The city has a lot of work ahead of it to restore our post-hurricane community and are implementing changes to address past building department issues to strengthen and advance the needs of our community. In the ongoing efforts to enhance our city's resilience, the city has made significant strides. Have secured the services, significant strides. We have secured the services of a seasoned building official with expertise in floodplain management. We appointed a floodplain manager for the independent oversight and cultivated a collaborative partnership with the city of Holmes Beach. Their willingness to provide support underscores the collective commitment to the betterment and rebuilding of our communities. To ensure organizational efficiency and clarity, the building department will implement comprehensive written guidance through standard operating procedures. This initiative will empower staff to execute their responsibilities effectively. Bradenton Beach Emergency Management Team. Thank you. With that, if there's no comments, we can just go right into general public comment. I will go ahead and open up chambers for general public comment. Anybody in the audience have anything with regards to general public comment? Blue cards for that one? Go ahead, please.
Elaine?
You all have a letter that I put in front of you. You all have a-
Push the button so the light comes on. There you go, Elaine.
Sure. You all have a letter that I put in front of you, Elaine Armaniaco, 13 Church Avenue. The letter in front of you is from the LLC manager who owns Pines Park, Sean Coletta. Here are some highlights of the October 2nd letter we received. We are fully committed to restoring Pines Park. We can assure you that we will be investing the capital to restore everything to the same or better condition than before. Our priority is to ensure you have a safe, comfortable home. We're proud to own Pines Park, and we are excited for its recovery and long-term existence. Then, an unidentifiable rogue FEMA rep told you that we were toast, which led to prematurely condemning the two manufactured home parks. The mayor, you and I, we had a conversation. And Mayor, you insisted that things were different at the Sandpiper because unlike the Pines, they are shareholders. And I challenged that mindset saying, whoever owns the property has no bearing on whether or not it should be condemned, or whether it passes the 50% rule for that matter. But then you said something very interesting, Mayor Chappie. You said, Sean Coletta owns your property. And if you don't think that makes a difference, you are not the smart person I thought you were. Well, those words sat with me for several months, and I wonder now what you meant exactly. Did you mean he's not kind or empathetic, or that he will pressure or get cozy with elected officials and city employees to get what he wants? Maybe you were giving me a warning that he would stop at nothing to close our park, despite a mortgage agreement stating that he couldn't even apply for his own change for 5 years from the date of sale, or that he would offer the park for $75 million, well over 5 times what he paid for it, or he would demand us to hand over our titles in order to stay in our very own homes past July 31st, even if we were current with our lot lease payments. An earlier time you asked my opinion about the coconut trees, and you admitted to me that they were not an approved species, and they were planted in a right-of-way. And I said, oh, then they are going to have to come out. And you said, oh no, the city will find some other restitution. So I've been meaning to ask, what restitution did you ever agree to? The city allowed Pines parking lot to become a pay-by-plate lot, even though the code said there must be at least 1 spot per unit. About 40 owners were affected by that decision. So did code enforcement come up with some sort of restitution? Why is the city attorney talking to the CRA and media about redevelopment plans for the Pines even before Pines owners knew it? How is that her role? Why such a personal interest for her? She was making the case that it's not feasible to rebuild without elevating, even though 83 out of 86 units got approval to rebuild without elevating. And what is PUD? Is that some means to circumvent as true Substantial zoning process, is it a favor for a friend?
You need to.
I have
wrap
2
up.
sentences, can I?
Please. Absolutely.
Are you looking into the allegations that the city attorney is seen out socially and driving around with the largest land developer on the island, or the rumors that she lives in one of his
You
properties?
need to wrap it up.
Oh, I thought you said I could finish
I
my
thought
2
that was your
sentences.
sentence. Okay.
Oh, why does it feel like she works for him, or at the very least, they have a strong friendship? The conflict is so blatant.
Thank you. Anybody else? Nobody?
No, I have a few. Victor?
Mr. Armaniaco, 13 Church. We elected all of you to protect us from an unfair treatment. You all have the power to maintain the current M1 zoning and protect the charming old Florida character of Bradenton Beach, as well as our homes and investments. What hardships does the LLC have that they should be granted a zone change? There's no financial hardship. Over 96% of the units are allowed to rebuild without elevating and would be rebuilding if they knew the park would stay for long-term existence or generations to come, to quote Mr. Coletta. There seems to be enough money to renovate other properties and to make cash offers on some as well. The LLC purchased a mobile home park, so their desire to build something else on that property is a self-created hardship. A zone change is a very serious affront to a city's master plan and will surely alter the old Florida character of Bradenton Beach, and it is not wanted by your voters. Did you get elected in part to protect the character of Bradenton Beach? In a January 21st article, the mayor is quoted, "The zoning to that," meaning the Pines, "is going to have to change." Why? Why does it have to change? What's in it for all of you to change the zoning? If you participate to make it easier for a particular developer to change the cities in unpopular ways, you are not doing your job. If you are an elected official turning a blind eye, you are just irresponsible. You are just as responsible, sorry. Maybe considering all that is going on right now, keeping a building inspector from the outside is a good idea. It's really hard to believe that the city would allow a senior living community that dates back to the 1940s to be redeveloped under PUD, which is primarily for condos, townhouses, and single-family homes, and we are zoned M1. At least force the owner to follow the specific terms in the loan they secured from the previous owner, and allow us to stay for 5 years from the date of purchase. Thank you.
Thank you. Next.
John?
Yeah. John Short. You wouldn't be the first one. John Shore, 67 Midge Court, Pines Trailer Park. The average trailer in Pines Trailer Park is worth around $150,000 prior to the hurricane. They range in value from a low of about $100,000 to a couple of people pay over $200,000 for the trailers. If I take that average of $150,000 times 86 trailers in the park, that's approximately $13 million in value. In a survey of trailer owners recently, it was mentioned 83 of the 86 trailer owners said that they would rebuild if they had a chance to rebuild. So they could be worth that amount again if they were allowed to rebuild. And I say if we're allowed to rebuild. In my case, it's going to cost me about $20,000 to $25,000 to rebuild my trailer, and I have to get out of it by July 31st, so I don't have a chance to rebuild it. Doesn't make any sense. There were 21 single women trailer owners, most of whom were on fixed income. Some of them lived in the park year-round, so their trailer was their only home. I've personally lived in the trailer park for 5 years. I remodeled my trailer twice in that period. I have $165,000 in my trailer. As you well know, Pines Park investors and Sean Coletta evicted us as of July 31st of this year. That means collectively the 86 trailer owners have lost $13 million. This is not inexpensive. I personally lost $165,000. I'm 83 years old, and that loss really hurts. I mean, I don't have many more years, but that hurts.
On top of that, when we turn over our title to them and sign their trailer abandonment document, we can't even collect the $2,750 fee that the state gives us when the trailer park is closed. So we're out of everything. We got nothing. I don't like it, and I don't think you'd like it if you lost $165,000. It does hurt. Now, in the past, the commissioner meetings, you said you all wanted to help Pines Trailer Park in any way you could. Well, there is a way. I ask that you deny any land use changes or zoning changes requested by Pines Park investors and Sean Coletta, and therefore force them to keep the trailer park as for at least 3.5 years as a trailer park per Coletta's contract with the previous owners, the Jacksons. And we've checked, and that's still in force. If you approve their land use changes and zoning changes in the future, you basically will be taking $13 million from 86 people. And 165 from me personally, and I don't like that. I wonder if your decisions would be any different if you, the four of you, all lived in Pines Trailer Park and faced a $150,000 loss, $600,000 between the four of you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mary Fox?
Hold on 1 second. Just 1 second, please. Thank you, Mary. Yes?
I just want to make an announcement. Anyone who is reading from a piece of paper today, I need that piece of paper before you leave so I can make a copy of it for the city record. Thank you.
My name is Mary Mox, 65 Mitch Court. I've been coming to this island for 54 years. Every morning we brought our kids for 2 weeks. My husband's been coming for 76 years. We bought in Pines Park 32 years ago. We did not consider ourselves snowbirds. We loved and treated this island with respect and taught our children and grandchildren to do the same. I feel we have been disrespected at Pines. We have been told we were condemned, not condemned, to an eviction. You were so unprepared as an entity to handle these past hurricanes. I know the stress, but you are leaders. I'm a senior and have limited funds to continue. I have had to find another place for this season. You want us condemned. Why? You want the zoning to change. Why? I feel you have totally disrespected Darin Cushing and ruined his life. The drift-in is another debacle that is so uncalled for. They need to move forward now. You're being held accountable for your decisions.
We can't talk about the drift-in, as I understand it, because it is a quasi-judicial hearing that's coming up, and all the testimony that is stated needs to be stated at that hearing. I apologize, I just have to say that.
Lucinda, do you remember the old ladies who found you crying on the steps of your gazebo after you told us we were condemned? We consoled you. You have not consoled us.
Thank you.
Sandy? Hello, my name is Sandy Seaver. I'm a member of Pines Park. I live at 62 Bay Drive. My very first thing I want to say is I really would love to know why do you think Bradenton Beach is so special? Because you've all come forward to represent us. Why did you move here? We moved here because it was special. It was quaint. It wasn't a high-rise place taken over. It's why people come from all over the world to our place. It's because it isn't Naples. It isn't Fort Myers. It isn't Tampa. I'm hoping you feel the love for the island that we do, and I'm hoping that you understand the pain that your residents are going through here. Our eviction notice that we received a few weeks ago started with, due to a land use change, you are evicted. We were giving no warning that you were going to change the land use. There's supposed to be public hearings. We're supposed to receive letters. Is the land use, that was the letter from Mr. Coletta, incorrect? when he said the eviction is due to a change in land use. When I saw that, my feeling was, how can they do that without public meeting? So that's my concern. Also, I see today that you are going to vote to withhold your meeting comments from public view. That I question that. That is possibly something you're going to be voted on in that number thing at the end. I'm questioning why that is coming up. Also, thank you to the sweet girl who got me the future land map today. I see that our park is on that future land map. It is marked as commercial, water dependent. That is what Pines Park is marked on the land use map I received this morning. It would have been nice to know that before today. We really just want an honest, caring city government who puts its residents first. No playing games, no favoritism, no bending to money, transparency. That's really what we all want. We are the throwaways on the island. We have been referred to as that. Please, we have been through hell. We read the same posts that you guys read every day. And every day it's a different story. Mr. Officer Cosby, we are pissed too. We are pissed too. And we also feel that the fox is in the hen house. Please, we ask that you put yourself in our shoes, allow us to move forward and show us some support. We're fighting many battles in that park, and we shouldn't have to be fighting with you guys too. Thank you. I appreciate you letting me speak.
Thank you.
Betty Rogers?
Good afternoon. I'm Betty Rogers, and I live at 110 12th Street South in Bradenton Beach. And I'm just here to ask you if you have plans for street ends. I happen to live right on the bay, right next to John. And we don't have any drainage on our street. We've reconstructed everything to go down to the water, but the sand is so high that it won't allow the water to escape. So then it just builds up when we have a heavy rain and goes over the seawall. And of course, we also have a city dock on that area. So I'm trying to find out if there are plans for removing some of that sand or what you're trying to do for drainage of the end of the streets, and if there's any ideas about replacing the city pier there. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Derek, were you going to fill one out for this? Yes, sir. Yep, please. You can fill it out when you're done, if you'd like.
Hello again, Derek Williams. I want to take the opportunity to address you again because I've been attending many public workshops with county commissioners, city commissioners, just trying to understand the process. Again, wasn't really prepared to go through any of this, prior to hurricanes, and I think we're all pretty clear where I stand as far as the reopening of our business. So I know that is set for March 6th, and I appreciate it. Since our last communication, I've continued to kind of not have, again, clear communication with the current building department. I do have record of regular requests for who's in charge of what, city planner, building official, how to move forward. But my team is moving forward, getting the appropriate requirements that were mentioned in past meetings with appraisals and items like that, so we can move forward in the proper way that you're recommending. I don't understand the comment earlier about anybody mentioning my business. Again, this is just part of the community. I think these people are frustrated as I am. We don't know the letter of the law, and I think it's really important that we continue to remember that when it comes to the specific opportunity to come here and exercise our freedom of speech and our opportunity to not make any accusations. I think that again, it's taken a life of its own, but really the process itself, what we've all been dealing with, and the communication slash miscommunication slash disinformation that is given to, you know, all of the folks in this area. I agree with Chief. We were here that day, and I mentioned that to you. We all came across that bridge. We were all trying to do the right thing. I actually think, you know, again, at some point, Mr. Cushing fell into that category as well. I don't know where that line crossed and who to believe. I sat in the meeting last night, 2 nights ago, with County Commissioner George Cruz and the Mayor of Holmes Beach, and I heard her reference your inner agreement, and there's a lot of inconsistencies with what I hear in these meetings and what their team told me sitting there as far as how they were working to support us. Again, I think we've been caught a little bit with ill-prepared for such a devastating event. I think we're all just trying to work through it. I think that's the message from so many of these folks is, how do we work through it? This isn't about tearing our city apart and burning our government down as much as it is on what are the processes and procedures. And quite frankly, I know if I will speak for myself, how we trust in that process. That's what's so difficult. There is an element of a lot of, again, so I've hired legal counsel. I'm sure these folks have as well, and we're all pretty much aware of that, but I think it's really important that we come and we attend and we participate. I agree with the sentiment earlier. Again, thank you all for taking your time to serve in this capacity. Wow. But, you know, it's really important right now that the eyes of the world are on us. I think we should be very conscious of that, and we should be doing the right thing for our community. We should be thinking about humanity and people as much as we are all these regulations and rules. Not that they're not important, they definitely are. And you know, just find the best way we can to work together to solve a problem. And I really feel, again, sincere about something. I don't know if Chief is here again. I formed a good relationship with him. I feel bad for a few of you again that have really put a lot of additional personal stress on yourselves or have been put on you because of this situation. Just understand that even though I see you moving me along, but I learned in the other meeting that you do have the right to extend. The 3 minutes is more of a decision than it is like a rule. So, you know, we can talk, and I just think it's important. I'm not, well, it's a guideline, you know.
Absolutely.
So it's not a constitution. All right. Listen, I'm taking the time to come here and express my feelings towards you, to let you know we're working towards something and we need clear guidance. And I don't think they still, but that's happening on a daily basis. So when we reach out to your leadership team and we still aren't able to get those answers immediately, yesterday, not today, that's an issue. So you can continue to come to these meetings and say we're doing all we can to get where we need to be, but these storms happened months ago and we're all still sitting here, some of them not in their homes and not with the things that they need to survive, and that's just really got to be hit home. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you. I think we have another person.
Evelyn? Good afternoon, Evelyn Saab, 105 3rd Street North. I'm just here as an observer, and I am empathizing with Pines Trailer Park, as well as the bar owners, since we're not supposed to mention the name. But what I'd like to stress is, I'm hearing a lot of hearsay, possible rumors, all of that, and a lot of fingers are being pointed at contracted employees or disgruntled. And I'm sorry, you're the elected officials, not someone sitting in a chair that collects a heavy paycheck under their contract. And I understand the chief and all the EMS and fire, they are doing a tremendous job. But these decisions fall on your shoulders, not something implemented from another entity that you're approving, but saying it's your words. It needs to be your words from the heart, and we citizens should feel that we voted the right people in. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Evelyn. Anybody else? One last call. Anybody? If there's nobody else, I will go ahead and close. I will close public comment. A couple quick things I'd like to respond to. There has nothing, not a thing has been presented to this commission to change the zoning at the Pines. Nothing whatsoever. Anything written to the contrary is not true. It is not true even a little bit. As far as the future land use map, that was designated, I have no idea how long ago. It's been in place for quite a while. I don't remember when it was done or how it was done, but that's on the future land use map. If something's ever presented to us, then it would have to go through the whole process. There is not a single person up here that has said we want to get rid of the pines. No one. Not a single person, not me or anybody else. I did make the comment to you, Elaine, I know that it does make a difference between a co-op and privately owned by an LLC. I did make that comment to you. And it does make a difference when you're looking at it and when the legalities. I did not in any way, shape, or form say that I wanted to get rid of the pines. I have said just the opposite. Throughout history, throughout the years I've been here, we have always said, I have always said, that I've been here 50 years, I'm in my 50th year, to answer the other question about why I came here. Exactly the same reason. You had it spot on. And we're losing that character. We're losing the quality of life that we had when I came here, when you came here, when your husband came here. And it's terrible. We've been hit by 2 major disasters, and we need to recover. And if you think anybody up here is going to want to get rid of the mobile home park, which is a key part of our history, just like a number of other structures around here, they're a key part of our history here in Bradenton Beach. That's what makes Bradenton Beach different. That's one of the reasons we were called the armpit of the island when I came here. We knew we needed to make some changes and make some improvements, and we created the CRA. But a big part of that CRA has always been the pines, has always been these other shops. We're not the enemy up here. I swear to God. You don't think I pray on this every night? We want to keep the community as quaint and lovely and home. It's our home. It's our neighbors. We want to keep it that way. I'm sorry we're going through this. I pray every day about that. A lot of times every day about this storm, and to give us the understanding, the wisdom, and the clarity of thought to get through this. And we're going to get through it. Is it going to be the same? No, it's not. Because we had these 2 storms. These 2 major disasters. It breaks my heart. 4 of my neighbors lost their homes. You are having problems. We, not you, we, because it's part of our community, are having problems to try to get through this. I don't know what else I can say with regards to. I'm sorry?
Your city attorney is telling the media.
I'm sorry, but ma'am, please, we can't get into that, okay? I'm trying to talk to you. I'm telling you. I'm telling you, ma'am. I'm telling you how I feel in my actions, okay? Please, and I know you want to go on.
I appreciate it, but
I know words are cheap. They are. Actions are what happen, and that's what we're trying to do here. That's one of the reasons we made some of the changes with our building department. Please. Again, I just want to stress, nothing has come before us to change the zoning. Nothing. And I would be, ma'am, please, it's my turn. I didn't interfere with you, except the one point when somebody said something about a future land use meeting, or not a future land use, but with regards to a land use quasi-judicial meeting coming up. We have to follow the guidelines on that, because you have to have the testimony at that meeting. That's the way it's written. I learned that a long time ago. The county, I'm sure one of our commissioners can tell you exactly the verbiage on it. I mean, she was in charge of the public records request. She knows that stuff. That's all I can say right now. But we are working to try to figure out how we can get through this. All of us can get through this. And that's one of the reasons I have this item on the agenda at the end, that 125.023. which is a state statute that we're going to get into about where people can move in or have their mobile home set up on their property while they're rebuilding. There's certain guidelines, but it's a state thing. And I just discovered this the other day when one of our residents came in, a friend of mine, and we were talking about their plight, because she has the same problem as you do. Her house has to be destroyed, it would appear. So we have a new building official. Those are the steps and this guy comes highly qualified, unbelievably qualified. We are so blessed that we're having this opportunity. And we also have an unbelievable person, and I know her, Sandy Tudor, our floodplain manager, again, splitting that up. So we have actual experts with experience in dealing with FEMA. And that's what we are trying to work together to get this so we as a community can survive this, so that we as a community can beat this and be better. It's not going to be the same. Most of us have been here a long time. It's not going to be the same. And it's sad. If anybody else wants to speak, please. Go ahead.
My family's been on this island 45 years, and I thought the Pines Trailer Park was the most adorable little trailer park and had so much character. So it does break our heart, and it does make me want to cry. That there's a possibility you could lose your home, and if there really was a way to stop an LLC and a private owner, we would, but that's a whole different conversation. Okay? Our building official issue, we had a contracted company. And we had Steve Gilbert for 17 years from that contracted company, and I can tell you he was a pistol, all right? I dealt with Mr. Gilbert trying to get permits. He did a great job for us, but he left us, we got a new building official, and we had problems. But it's not until you find something goes wrong that you even know you had a problem. And we acted quickly to resolve that. And unfortunately, people, homeowners, businesses suffer as a result of that. But we have now in place a building official dedicated to the city of Bradenton Beach. He's not contracted from a company that goes all over the state. He is going to work for the city of Bradenton Beach. And the floodplain manager is going to work for the city of Bradenton Beach, and they are going to get us on track. I know these people. I worked with them for years, and they will do the right thing for us, and they will work hard for you, and they will get us where we need to be correctly and legally. Because let's face it, guys, if you have non-licensed contractors and you're doing unpermitted work and FEMA comes in here and starts doing their evaluations, you're ripping all of that out. And that's not us, that's FEMA. And that happened because of the issues we were having with our building official and all the discrepancies that came forward. FEMA came back and said, shame on you. We're trying to fix that, and we're trying to protect you from having to go back and undo work that you have done because you thought it was okay, because someone told you it was okay. So please, we are fighting for you. We're trying to protect you. I'm a homeowner. Also, I've got damage that I have to fix. So we know what you're going through. All of us have experienced some kind of damage and loss. So please don't attack us, because we love this city, or we wouldn't be up here, because we're targets and we know that, okay? And I'm okay with that, but I'm gonna fight. And I'm very disappointed in the things and the attacks that have been made against this commission, because we have integrity. And we are here for you, and we will always be here for you. And I will never represent developers and all that other nonsense that's being said. That's not true, and I'm offended. And I just want you all to know that. I will fight tooth and nail every day. You have a problem, I don't care if you're in my ward or not, you come to me, talk to me. There's gotta be an answer. And sometimes we don't like the answer, but you're right, you need answers. And we plan on getting them for you as soon as we can, but let us get these people in place. Let us get their feet on the ground, their boots on the ground, so we can move forward.
Anybody else? Go ahead.
I did want to, there was a statement made about that we're trying to hide public records. What's on the agenda is not about hiding public records. It's about adding safety for election workers and making sure that that's a priority. Because I can tell you, I'm the newbie on the board. I've only been here since November. I've already had my hand slapped because of responding to an email and not following public records process. Nobody in this city is trying to hide anything from anyone. I just have a problem when that's made as a statement that we're trying to do things to protect someone or not give information. I can tell you, I walk my ward every day, twice a day, and I have people stop me and tell me that they don't like things going on. And yes, we're trying to fix them. Have mistakes been made? Absolutely. But we're trying to fix it. But to present or make it sound like we're doing something to hide what we're doing, nobody up here is trying to hide anything from anybody in this room or in this city. And that really is concerning because, yeah, I moved here for a reason, because I liked the island. I'm retired, I don't need to be here. I'm doing it because it's the right thing to do. And as was said, to suggest that we don't have an interest in this city and that we're doing things for nefarious reasons, that's offensive. And I think what we need to do is stop some of that and recognize mistakes have been made, but we're trying to fix it. We're trying to do the right thing. As far as Pines, I've responded to emails to several of the owners stating, I'd love to help you, but I don't, as a member of this commission, have a legal right to interfere between an LLC and a property owner. I don't. I wish I did. But other things, yeah, trust me. I don't want to see a zoning change. I don't want to see anything happen to the Pines. So yes, that stuff we'll deal with if it ever comes to this board. It has never been brought here because it's something that I'm kind of passionate about. I don't want to see it happen. So I think if we kind of back down on some of the rhetoric a little bit and just deal with the facts, some of it, I get it. I had damage too, not as much as everybody else, but I had damage to deal with. So it's all part of what we're all dealing with. So I just want to make sure that it's clear, nobody up here is trying to do things to hide from the public. And that was a little bit concerning to me, so I just wanted to address it. So, thank you.
Anybody else want to speak?
Yeah, I will. I just want to say to everybody that after these storms, our emergency management kicked in, and we did things to get this island back up and running, and they did an amazing job. And you might not agree with everything that they did, and unfortunately, we have to follow certain rules, and all the rules that are made by people or commissions like us, there's always, as I say, consequences unforeseen that you don't want to deal with. But unfortunately, we're the land of laws and rules, and we have to follow. And the only thing that we can do is try and make this right with the building official. However it happened, and we didn't have a building official, so now we have a building official. We're trying to move things forward. I think that's about all we can do at this point. I've lived here for 40 years. I've never seen storm like that. I've seen the tide. I mean, we are lucky. We are so lucky that Milton didn't finish us off, or none of us might have been sitting in here. If that storm would have went to St. Pete, we would have had twice the tidal surge. So, you should be thankful for the fact that the Anna Maria Island still got things on it. And we'll do the best we can to make things right. Unfortunately, sometimes we can't control what happens, just like you. And we do the best we can to fix it as it comes at us. We did not know that this was going to happen with the building official. And in the heat of the battle, there's a lot of other communities out there, and I have talked to several different people along the coast that they're going through a lot of the same issues too. Substantial damage from FEMA. I want to say FEMA is supposed to be in the business of helping people and putting them and using our tax dollars to help people. We shouldn't be fearing our government that they're going to come tear your house down, or they're going to come make you undo something that you did just to get your life back together. Now that is an issue that needs to be addressed. Seriously. And I don't know how you go about doing that, but I hear it's an act of Congress. So it takes a lot more than just a few voices to do something like that. And you have to start somewhere. I'm willing to do stuff like that and use my voice, but I don't know if it will work. I'm disappointed that we have to live in that fear of, okay, we're in a flood zone, but there's devastation from North Fort Myers all the way to Tennessee. There's fires in California. FEMA's got their hands full. So we need to work through this the best we can, and hopefully, I think this will all pass, and hopefully it works out for you at the Pines. I mean, the Pines has been there since I was 18, 19 years old, and running around going fishing off the pier. So I just hope that whoever can fix their stuff up can fix it up, and you can work out with the landlord some sort of deal. And then that's where I stand. I'll do anything I can for you, but I think that the biggest issue is we should not be afraid of our government coming in and telling us you're in a flood zone, you're going to have to tear your house down because you're a few dollars over a 50% rule. Something that's just a dollar figure that's put on some material that doesn't matter to them. And you got to remember too, they're just employees reading and interpreting the rules that they see have been set forth by people who make laws. And I'm telling you, every law that's ever made, there's some sort of severe consequence that goes along with it. So I'll work to try and make this pass, and I think it will. And we hired the building official. I can only give kudos to our staff, Chief Cosby. I've known him for years and years. I haven't always agreed with him. He'll be the first one to tell you we've had, our differences, but we realize and work through our differences. And I know that he puts everything he got into getting this place up and going. And it's not easy, because that's the first time that we've ever been in this position. And that goes for a lot of people along the whole coast. And this is not an easy thing to do. We do it for basically volunteer. It's volunteer work, and it's not easy to take the pressure. I've heard all kinds of things. I don't pay too much attention to Facebook because there's all kinds of things that are put on Facebook that just don't have no substance behind them. So I always try and take my time and decipher out and don't make any accusations until you know for sure it's true. And it's just part of how I've lived my life. Live and let live is a good way to go about it, but I hear a lot of things. People are saying a lot of things to me, and I have to take them, and I have to take them. I don't know if it's so, if I haven't seen it with my own eyes, if I don't have any proof. It's very difficult to go down that road. But I do know this, that our staff, I've known them for years and years, and they have done a great job. They run the day-to-day city business here. We don't try to micromanage them and get in and tell them everything they need to do. That doesn't work either. We try and set the policies, let them bring what they need to us, and we have a unique situation as the weak mayor system. Each one of us, we're the legislative branch and the executive branch. So no one's come to us and changed their zoning. They have to do that. If a zoning change has to come before us. There's a lot of rules that have to be followed, and a lot of things you hear on Facebook are just put out there and they get you going, so you gotta make sure they have substance. I'm gonna stop right there, and
Thank you.
that's it.
With that, I think everybody has heard.
Microphone? Mike.
You heard this from all of us here today on our feelings and desires for the Pines. You know what they are. We've all been saying it for decades. We're going to work through this. We have to. With that, we can go ahead. If we can take a minute, if we need a minute, we start our regular order of business. And the first thing on the agenda is the number one, approval of minutes. Commission, are there any questions or comments regarding the agenda for January 28, 2025? If not, do we have a motion on the floor to approve the minutes as presented?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion on the floor and a second.